Okay, to all the graduates here today, thank you for coming and being a part of our service today. And just to all of you, whether you're from high school, college, or another program, I hope you feel that this congregation cares about you, prays for you, and collectively, congratulations on an accomplishment, right? Getting through high school, getting through college, or whatever program otherwise it might have been, is a challenge unto itself. All right? Congratulations. And so today, our worship service from beginning to end is sort of fashioned around that sentiment. So today we celebrate your hard work, your perseverance, and the hope-filled launch into the next chapter of your life. And I think what a fitting day to do it, because today on this particular Sunday in church, the lectionary, the Bible readings, proclaims a vision of the future, which is what you're doing right now, sort of looking to your future. And in the Bible, it proclaims that future in both mysterious and breathtaking ways. In the book of Revelation. The book of Revelation is often very misunderstood. Jim taught the Revelation, book of Revelation. He loves the book of Revelation. You know it's mysterious as well, right? Very mysterious. It's been the source of endless speculation, strange movies, and even stranger conspiracy theories. One movie entitled "This Is the End" imagines the end times with people being beamed up into heaven with blue light, while Los Angeles and the world around collapses into chaos. You remember the movie Ghostbusters, right? Ghostbusters, we're told to expect dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. I try to give my best impression there, right? Yes, the book of Revelation is filled with dragons and beasts and plagues and all kinds of strange and mysterious imagery. But all of those images are not really the core message of the book, of the vision. Contrary to popular opinions and movies and all of that, the destruction, the doom, and the damnation, and all of that is not the final word in Revelation. The book ends with what we read in our lectionary today. This is the last part of the Bible, what we read today. It ends with a vision of a new heaven and a new earth and the restoration of the Garden of Eden, clear back in the beginning book of the Bible. It actually served the early Christians as a source of comfort and great hope, and was looked upon in that time as a kind of guiding light for Christian living. It wasn't the gloom and doom and apocalyptic scary stuff that we've made it into today. For the early Christians, it was actually a book of guiding light for people. And it can serve the church today in the same way. And that's very good news for all of us, especially for graduates who stand on the edge of an unknown, mysterious future. Just like the people who were reading that first book of Revelation when they first read it, back in the first century. Today's passage from Revelation 21 gives us a glimpse into what God has in store for the future. Not just eventually way out there, but also right now, beginning in this moment, today. The vision says, "Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, and all the sea was no more." John's message tells us God is not done creating with us. God is not done with us. God is not done building and creating with each of our lives. That's a vital message. Graduates, your diploma may mark the end of one chapter, but it also proclaims the beginning of a new one. So you're in the middle of things. The next chapter is still being written. And for all of us, the next chapter of our lives is still yet unwritten. The next chapter of our nation is yet unwritten. In spite of all the chaos that we're living through, the next chapter is still yet unwritten. The next chapter of our world is yet unwritten. God isn't finished with us yet. And that's the good news of this final word in Revelation. And God calls each of us then to play a part in this. Play a part and partner with God, to be partners with God in how the next chapter will be written. This passage then describes a new heaven and a new earth coming to be, not because God is throwing the old one out, but because God is transforming it into something new. In the Bible, the sea that passes away, the sea is not that beautiful place we go to vacation and we love to enjoy. In the Bible, the sea is a scary place. The sea is the place of chaos. In the Bible, anytime you see any sort of biblical imagery of the sea or sea creatures, those are scary things in the Bible. So the sea, that symbol of chaos and confusion, God says the sea will be no more. Chaos, confusion will be no more. That's not a threat, however. It's not a threat. It's a promise that's laced with God's expectation and hope that we will join Him in the work of eliminating the chaos and bringing hope into this world today. The chaos of the present time that we're living in now does not get to have the final word. God does. That's the good news of Revelation. As it said in the first century Christians, when they were living through chaos, when they were being hunted by the emperor, by the soldiers, they would hear this message, and it would give them great hope. The current chaos that they're living through will not get the final word. God does. And as we live in a time of confusion and chaos, that chaos does not get the final word. God does. And as we're graduates, and we're in the middle of that one part of life is over, now the next one begins, and we're in that middle, and we're confused, and maybe a little wondering what this is going to be like, curious whether I made the right decision for the next chapter, that chaos does not get the final word. God does. And God's going to keep making and remaking to bring about God's word in the end. And that is very good news. He says, I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. When he says this vision isn't about escaping in favor of going to heaven someday. It's about God coming here, now, into this moment. The city of God comes down to earth in this vision. God makes a home with us. He doesn't wait in heaven for us to figure it out, end our life, and then go to heaven. God comes down in this vision. This is not pie in the sky when you die. This is hope on the ground right now. The goal of Revelation is not God's desire to get us out of the problems of this world. It's about God bringing more of heaven into this world each and every day through us, through the church, through the gift of the commandment that Christ gave us to love one another as He has loved us. Friends, graduates, always remember this. God is moving, always moving, toward you. Even when you feel as if you're moving away from God, or moving away from family, or moving away from all things that you're comfortable with. In that moment of starting new, God is always moving toward you. You don't need to fear what's ahead. Be bold, be courageous, because the one who declares, behold, I make all things new, is already out ahead of you, plowing ahead of you so that you can plant the seeds behind. Making the way so that your efforts can take root and grow. God is always out in front of you, and God is always coming to you with life and hope out of despair and giving purpose to moments of uncertainty. God will dwell with them, he says in Revelation. He will wipe away every tear from every eye, he says. Isn't that a beautiful line? Isn't that a beautiful line? God is so vast in some parts, as bringing all of heaven to earth. And yet in this whole vastness of a vision, God also knows you well enough to know every single tear. Isn't that beautiful? God knows you so personally. He doesn't just know that you hurt. He knows every single tear. And then promises to wipe every single tear away. What a beautiful image. This is what God is about. Wiping away tears. Ending the mourning. Silencing the pain. Bringing peace in chaos. And that's the work that God invites us to join. Whether you're heading into college, the workforce, the military, a time of discernment in your own life, or whether you're a church wondering about the future. If you want to know what to do with the life ahead, ask these questions. Whose tears can I wipe away? Whose pain can I help ease? Where is there chaos that needs peace? What can I do? What group being held back or put down can I defend and help liberate? When we face every day with those questions, selfless questions about where am I to go, when we look at our lives through that lens, the lens of Christ on the cross, our lives are not filled with jobs. They're filled with calling and purpose that makes a difference, that leaves this world in a better place than we found it. Graduates, as you step out into the next stage of your life, it's easy to get overwhelmed. There will be days when your plans fall apart, when you wonder if you chose the right path, or if you're smart enough or strong enough to figure it out. Always remember, God is with you and is making all things new through you. When you fall down with faith in God, you will always fall forward, picking yourself back up and keeping going. With faith in God, we always fall forward, so that even when we land, we're in a new place. Friends, God was with you with every step of the way. God was with you at your first steps. God is with you in this step you might be wondering about taking. God will be with you at every step to come in the future. And in the end, God will be there again to help you make that final step from this life into the next. Because God is always coming to you and ahead of you. The Alpha and the Omega. So my friends, graduates, let this promise from these final pages of the Bible be your guiding light every day, as it was in that first century to those first Christians. Not a mystery to fear, but a vision to live and make life with purpose and meaning. And let this promise from the final page of the Bible be then for you your vision for life ahead. Step into the world, not just with a certificate or a degree, but with a mission. To wipe away tears, to heal wounds, to build bridges, to advocate for people, to stick up for those who need someone to defend them, to liberate people. And never forget, you are part of God's new creation. Even now, God is making all things new. Even now, God is making you new. Amen.